Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Elden Ring Sorcery playthrough. Episode 8. We are finally into Caelid. Unlike the last video, I actually did not forget anything this time, so we're going to actually start here at Smoldering Church and head first thing into a tree avatar here, a minor dungeon. Then we'll just work our way down to Fort Height and then around this way and then into the middle of the swamp up to the Stellar Crystal Tunnel and etc down to the Radon Festival at the very end. So currently level 56. Still rocking the Meteorite Staff and the Carrion Glint Blade Staff to increase the damage of Magic Glint Blade. Renala's Hat for +3 intelligence. Everything else is light equipment load fashion. Nothing has changed since the last video, so let's go ahead and get this rolling. So, if you have not already done it, right outside the Smoldering Chapel, normally there is a encounter with a invader NPC. We killed that lady very early on in the game. So, down here, at the base of the minor Erdtree, there is, of course, a Erdtree avatar, but on the way we have Guardians with their Guardian Sword Spear. Should only take one shot per kill. We're going to clear out the front way first, and then circle back around up on the cliff. There are quite a few of these, so if you did want to farm the Guardian Sword Spear, this is probably the spot. Be aware that sometimes they will hide around the corners of roots and cliffs to attempt to ambush you. Last one is up here. And there is an item up there that is a rune arc. The way you get to it is from the cliff up above. We'll nuke that guy and then head back around. Probably should actually activate this Site of Grace just to save a little bit of time once we finish the minor catacomb after the tree avatar. So right before this gnarled tree, there are 4 or 5 of the guardians that will pop up out of the ground. So you won't be able to target them initially until they dig themselves out. After you kill the first one, the rest should pop up. There's number 2. There's the rest of them. Alright, so the spot you want is right here. I'm going to drop down to this tree. Grab the rune arc. Go. And then we can fight the boss. Now, the main difference with this particular tree avatar is it's one of the corrupted avatars. And the only real thing that that means is that when it jumps up in the ground and slams its butt into the ground, it will spit out rot in front of it. So you want to circle behind it whenever it does that, or dodge roll behind it. One of the two. Unfortunately, it's much more difficult to use the technique of simply riding away on the horse, but the telegraphs are super massive when you fight these things. And there's, of course, the laser beams. You can still use the horse for that. Just be careful not to get hit by that attack. And there's the jump with the rot in front. It does do damage as well as hit you with rot, so just be ready for that. Okay. If you do get caught by the rot and you are losing hit points, just drink your heal potions until you can manage to run back around behind here to this entrance, and there's a site of grace right inside, so you should be able to rest and then clear that that rot. Keep in mind, though, if you do rest at the site of grace and the boss is still alive, the boss will reset its hit points as well, and you'll have to start over. Okay, so as usual with catacombs, there will be imps attempting to ambush you. Nothing too dangerous. Just always assume that around every corner there's going to be an imp. Always a safe assumption. So, initially, if I remember right, nope, not that way. We'll come back to this room in a second. There's actually nothing for us there yet. Down this way is towards the boss room. But, of course, like all boss rooms, it is initially locked. The key, or the lever, is in an unusual spot. Oh, and I forgot that one was there. Literally, after just giving the advice of assuming that there's a guy behind every corner, the one corner I don't check. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. There's a lever right there. Alright, dude, come out from behind the corner, please. There we go. So, this dungeon does have additional secrets. And I will show you that in just a moment. Is there one more? I don't remember. Nope. So, the way that we get the last part of this dungeon is by actually sending the elevator back up. And as you will see, unlike most of these, it is not a bottomless pit. Now, the ground here, however, is covered in rot. So as you run through here, you will begin to get the rot buildup. So you may want to switch and have your preserving bolduses ready, or be prepared to heal a lot. There are spots along the way that are safe. Generally along the side, you can see those mushroom growths. You just have to watch out for these slimes along the way, because they will attempt to attack you and push you off of these spots. There's also one on the roof there, which will drop on your head when you try to get this item. So, keep running. You need to stop in these corners, and there is the boss room. Now, we have one more thing left to do before we go to the boss room, and that is on the left up here. Very easy to miss is this side passage. And we have a couple of regular crabs here, which you don't need to do anything. It's speculated that these crabs have some kind of secret. If there is one, I've never been able to find it. Maybe the internet knows, but there's no secret doors, nothing like that, so who knows why there's a bunch of crabs here. But we're going to head up the ladder. If you do want a bit of a laugh, there is an ongoing, I don't know what to call it, theory throughout all of the Dark Souls games that regular crabs often signify a secret. So if you just Google Dark Soul crab theory, you'll come up with a bunch of very interesting things. Okay, do we have any more imps? Nope. the wolf head. Okay, so dropping down here, we'll grab you a butterfly. And then we're going to need to run all the way back, get to the boss. Through the rot once again, avoiding the slimes. And fortunately, there is a Stake of Marika right here, so if you do run into any problems, the run back is very, very forgiving. Okay, our boss is a double fight. Now, you can fight these two at the same time pretty easily. If you want, you can also use the crystal darts that we obtained in Liurnia to cause these two to fight each other. But of course, I will show you how relatively easy this is to fight with range. Just make sure you focus on one over the other. Keep your distance by sprinting, of course. And you should be done in no time. So this could be tricky. Two of them doing the same action, but relatively safe. One more should do it. And then we will be in a 1 versus 1. And at this point, it's academic. And there we go. Mad Pumpkinhead Ashes, if you want a bit of a tough guy to tank for you, that's not the worst choice. Alright. So, Erd Tree Avatar done. Got the tears from that, and the dungeon is finished. Back up here to the balcony. Next up, we have a little bit of a caravan, some wagons guarded by giant dogs. Also, very, very large birds. We'll get down to these ruins in a little bit. You can drop down here. You'll take a little bit of damage, but I don't recommend it. 5 more anti-rot boluses. Along the road, there are a crowd of zombies. You can kill these guys with Glintstone Arc if you really, really want to, but they're not worth the time. Honestly, they don't drop anything worthwhile and aren't worth very many runes. Okay, so a couple things up ahead. Giant dogs. We have a scarab with an incantation. And then that carriage over there has the greatsword, the Guts greatsword from Berserk. So, as usual with scarabs, one fully charged, one quick charge should do it. Go. Now, dogs normally are pretty annoying to fight. If you catch them before they become aware of you, you can just give them a handful of glint blades, and it should take them right out. So, looks like 2 heavies, 2 smalls, or 3 heavies, and 1 small. Or 2 heavies and 1 small, apparently. Now the birds can be a little bit more annoying because they do oftentimes jump in the air after they're initially hit, so it may cause some of your spells to miss. And a little bit out of range there. They also have a lot more hit points. Alright. Another rune arc, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Elusive bolts for your crossbow. And here's the guts, the greatsword. Now there's a glitch sometimes. I've seen this happen with the great axe as well, where you open the chest and there is nothing inside. I don't know what causes it. It's super, super rare, but I have seen it happen. So if you open that chest and there's nothing inside, you may want to immediately close the game and hopefully restore from a cloud save, or just go the rest of the game without the Guts Greatsword. Alright. So that's done. So we have a village up ahead with a double Mad Pumpkin head boss. Those ruins with the giant birds over here. Actually, I think it's roughly right here. And then we also have Gale Tunnel, which we ran through earlier to talk to Alexander. So let's actually go ahead and do Gale Tunnel first. The final boss of this place is a magma worm in a very small enclosed arena, so that can be a little troublesome. But similar to Magma Worm Makar, mostly you're just going to be using the same tactic of running away while shooting magic blade blades. The only drawback is that, of course, there's not quite as much space to operate. Alright, a couple of soldiers down here. They should each die in one shot. Bang, bang. Now, since we're not just running through at this point, as soon as you activate the Site of Grace down at the bottom of this hole, you'll be locked into this dungeon until you finish. If you do want to escape, you do need to run all the way to the end where we talked to Alexander. Fortunately, it is a relatively short cave. Not a lot of time spent in here. Just a little out of range on that guy. You can be pretty liberal with your spellcasting in here because there is a Site of Grace right next to the boss. So you'll be able to reset all of your potions very, very easily. Looks like I missed the guy with the horn, but I don't think it matters because there aren't any more soldiers in here. Okay, so squiddies up ahead, small ones. There is a large one on the roof, as is usual with squiddies. There's usually some kind of ambush. Same old, same old. If you can take him out quickly with your glint blades, good to go. If you don't take it out quickly because the camera won't let you lock, you can always retreat down the tunnel. In fact, if he does his flail attack like this, it's probably actually a good idea, because it cannot fit down the hallway. There we go. Krosnogetanta. So probably one of the best regular spears in the game. The only competitor I would say is the Clayman Harpoon, mainly because the Clayman Harpoon can be set to magic affinity and go with the same sort of build we're using that's magic heavy and bypass a lot of defenses that way. The Cross Naginata has the best scaling out of the regular spears and additionally has bleed damage, so very, very strong option. A lot of people don't like the alternate moveset. I completely agree with that. I think it's kind of garbage for a spear to have a halberd moveset, but it is what it is. Okay, so that should be all the enemies here. We just have the boss left. Now, one of the things that the magma worms tend to do right away is do their stupid running attack where they charge at you, and if they touch you, you will be knocked down and take a bunch of damage. Potentially, they could also hit you twice, which may result in a one-shot. Pretty annoying, but not... I mean, the run back is like, what, like 5 feet, so don't spend too much time stressing about it. The other thing this boss is nice about, though, is that it will reward you with the Moonveil Katana. Oh, he did not do his charge attack. Interesting. Well, good for us. Oh, there it is. So a lot of times he'll do 2 or 3, so be prepared to... yep, there's the second one. Just sprint to the side of where he's charging. He's doing a third one. Watch out for the lava, of course. And he's going to do another one. Wow, okay. Guess that's all we're doing today is charge attacks. That's 4 in a row. Before you finally decided to do something else. We should have him dead here in just a second. Hopefully that last one does it. If not, we can finish with Slicer. Yep. Yo. So, Moonveil, very, very excellent katana. Mixed slashing damage and magic damage. It has... I think I even have enough dex to use this. Nope. 18 dexterity. Very, very excellent katana. The Ash of War does the same attacks as the basic Uchi katana, but in addition to the normal slash, it will also have a beam of light that comes off it that does pure magic damage. So, very, very good. Oh, on top of all of that, it also does bleed for some reason, because every katana needs to have bleed. Probably one of the top 5 weapons in the game, if I'm being honest. Okay, so, Gale Tunnel, finished. Gonna head back over here. We'll clear out the Caelid ruins. The Caelid ruins have 3 flame tanks. You can decide to fight them or not. It's not critical. There really is not anything in the ruins except for a couple of very minor items. Let's see if I can get up on one of these walls. So, fire grease. Believe there's a smithing stone somewhere. I don't remember. But the zombies here are on fire, and they will also explode if they get too close. So, let's see if I can get them to do one of those attacks. No, I suspect I need to be on the ground for it to happen, so... Oh, nope, there it goes. So, about 1/3 of your life if you get hit by it, so just be aware of that. Exploding zombies suck. The actual boss fight is right there in that cellar. It is a double pumpkinhead fight, so pretty annoying. The best way I've found to do it is to hit your physic, of course, and what you want to do is rush the guy with the on the left with the flag, and you should be able to finish him off with Slicer. So this guy on the left, we're going to get him first. Oh, sorry, he does not have the flag. He has the hammer. Now, you may take a hit. That's okay. The guys with the hammers are easily 2 to 3 times as dangerous as these regular dudes. Once you're at a one-on-one fight, once again, we can use the horse. Same as last time when we fought one of these guys in a small area. Just run around in a circle and let your glint blades do their work. Once again, the camera will freak out a little bit, but that's okay. And the reward is a flame tank shield. This thing has a pretty cool Ash of War that will act as a flamethrower while blocking, if I'm not completely and totally wrong about that. Pretty cool against anything that is weak to fire damage. Alright. Other than that, there's really not anything to get here in the ruins. We're going to head down, and there's a Site of Grace just past the wall up here. Okay, let's grab those ruins. There is a Site of Grace right here. Gale, Fort Gale, of course, and then the cave below, and then these ruins here. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's head up there. To the northwest. Now try not to get too close to the hill so you don't aggro the bird. Fighting birds is very annoying. And if we don't have to, we don't want to. Okay, so dog on the right. If you do need to take out the birds, yep, here he comes, he's going to aggro. Try to get the first few hits off. If you don't get the first few hits off, you're going to have to just do what I did there and sprint away every time it starts to come at you. Okay, so there's a couple more. There's one up there, and I remember there's another one somewhere. Where is it? I know there's two more. There it is. Somehow they managed to hide a bird that big. Oh, and he went behind the ruins, so I think those are going to miss. Let's see, one more. Oh, he dodged it, of course. And the last one will drop down over here, if I remember right. Dang it. Lost camera lock. Oh, don't get stuck on the terrain. This is problematic fighting these things in the ruins because you can't see where you're going half the time. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, so down below we have the Trina's sword. It is a straight sword that does, I believe, magic damage and sleep build up. So even if you, say, run out of Trina's lilies to make sleep potions or sleep arrows, you still have this option to inflict sleep on bosses and targets as a last resort. sword of Saint Trina, not Trina's sword. Alright, that one's done. Head south to Fort Height. And if I remember, there is a scarab right here on the other side of this route. There he is. That's a Somber 4, which we already have lots of. Alright, and those guys are fighting that dog. We'll leave them alone. Now, over here, there's another scarab. It's got a... what is it? Flaming... I want to say Flaming Strike Ash of War. Sometimes when you are trying to get the hit in on it to reveal it, the large dog will aggro. So be very careful to keep an eye on him. Alright, where is that scarab? There he is. Alright, so straight line through there. We'll wait for him to come back around. There we go. Oh, Flame of the Red Manes, not Flaming Strike. Alright, so, up ahead. Let's see, I'm going to get out my bow. Because... it doesn't really matter which bow I use here. Alright, that knight right there will snipe you with a rain of arrows from almost anywhere on the approach to the fort. So the way you get around this is you rest at the Site of Grace, and you set it nighttime so that he has less vision. That guy will continue to shoot at you even once you get inside the fort. So it's very, very annoying. Okay, so we'll sneak up on him, and we'll give him a full bar of barrage. Might not take all of these, but better safe than sorry with these guys. Okay, so after we kill this guy, right around the corner, on the back side of the fort, there are 2 flame tanks and a bunch of exploding zombies. I'm going to recommend you do not try this from horseback. And ideally what you want to do is to sneak up on the first flame tank and kill the guy with Slicer if at all possible. Fighting 2 flame tanks at the same time can be very, very irritating. So we're going to hopefully be able to take them out. Nope. Okay. And then we can get behind the second tank, maybe? Perfect. Now, sometimes that does not go anywhere near that well. It may be a much better idea to retreat and reset that fight rather than attempting to dodge all these exploding zombies while fighting 2 flame tanks. Okay. The horse apparently got hit by the fire, and I've got blown to smithereens. All because of greed, trying to get the loot, which is just butterflies. Okay, back around the other side, and I touched the corner of the fort and got dismounted. Why? Who knows? So the front gate is locked. There is a Stake of America right here, and inside, you can't see it from here, I don't think, but there is a blade cat in there. We need to go around onto this route, kill this guy here, up the ladder, and sneak onto the inside of the fort. Now the actual lever is around by that brazier. You can't get it here from here, you have to go all the way around. Now there's supposed to be a soldier right here. Sometimes he gets stuck below in the terrain. We'll see that in a second when I go to fight this dude. Fortunately, they made it very easy to fight this guy as a sorcerer. You can just sit here at the top. Cast 2 or 3 of these. He'll jump around, but afterwards the glint blades should still hit. And this guy drops the Lion's Claw Ash of War, which, for a melee build, is probably one of the best Ashes of War in the game. Okay, don't drop down just yet. Once you do, you have to go all the way outside the fort again. We've got a couple of soldiers. And once again, because it's nighttime, they don't see very well, so we can get away with some initial hits here. Go. Now there's also a knight that walks out of the tower here. And he does have a shield, so we're going to get some initial shots in. And just light him up. Nobody cares about a shield when you have overwhelming firepower. Okay. Starscourge Heirloom, +5 strength. Very, very nice. At the top of the tower here, there's a teleporter that will take us all the way down to just outside Redmane Castle. We'll hit that in just a second. We still have a couple of things to get here. The most important item in the fort, hidden away, is mushrooms. To be fair, 10 mushrooms. Open the front gate. Drop down here, there is the Qatar. It's a stabbing weapon that goes on your fist. And that last soldier should be, yep, stuck right in the wall right there for some reason. He's supposed to be up higher, but whatever. Another rune arc. At this point, we're up to how many of those? 27. So if you've died 27 times against bosses, then you are very, very persistent. Okay, back across the walkway. Up the unnecessarily tall ladder. This will take us all the way down here. Okay, so we are on the far side of the bridge, so keep in mind this will save you from having to fight the catapults that normally attack you when you're trying to cross the bridge. There are no sites of grace on this side. They are all over on the far side, so we're going to head back with this teleporter. Oh, and I was wrong. It takes you inside the castle. But there is a site of grace up here, though. So I guess we'll get that first. Now from here, you can go straight to the Radon fight if you really, really want to. I don't recommend it. I am actually going to grab a Smithing Stone 6 from up here. Now, if you come here and for some reason there is a fog wall, that means that you have not yet triggered the festival. Sorry, Summer Smithing Zone 5. So if the fog wall is there, that's actually a dual fight, a Crucible Knight and a Leonine Misbegotten. Very, very difficult. You will want to, at that point, figure out why you haven't triggered the festival. Usually it's because you haven't been to Altus Plateau yet. Okay. Okay, Gale Cave right here. There's a site of grace roughly right here, I believe. Alright. Gale Cave, or Jail Cave, one of the two. Depending on how you spell it, I guess. This place is a little confusing because a lot of the cave insides look the same, and it's full of enemies that all look the same, lots of exploding zombies. So I tend to use a lot of marker stones while I'm inside to tell where I've been. There we go. Oh, one more guy. The area outside the cave is, of course, covered in rot poison, so make sure you are on your horse. The final boss is a gladiator, so nothing that's going to even remotely challenge us. But when you're traveling through the cave itself, the exploding zombies can be pretty annoying. There are also some vulgar militia and a couple of rats. So pretty standard stuff. You do need a stone sword key to get in, but if I remember right, they give you one on the inside, so don't worry about expending that. At this point, I think we even have... Where is it? Yeah, 11 stone sword keys, so you should not be running out of those at this point. The other nice part is that they give you a rune arc right at the beginning. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Where are my marker stones? There, 22. So there's a few loops in this area, and as I said, a lot of them tend to look the same. The first time I went through here, I think I got lost like 3 or 4 times, just going around in a circle over and over and over again, until I figured out that they were not, in fact, the same areas. Okay, starting with this locked and closed door. We're going to go ahead and mark that because at some point we're going to come back around. So purple stone there. The side passage has a breakable floor that you jump through. Like so. So as you can see, dudes on fire inside jail caves. Definitely not a pleasant place at all. What we want to do is make it around to the other side of this locked door. And there is a vulgar militia up there who drops down. We have to go all the way around the long way. Stake of America's right here in the middle, so even if you end up getting exploded by the zombies, the run back is not very difficult at all. All the way down. Okay, on the left we have 2 Vulgar Militia. Go ahead and nuke those guys, just so we don't have to deal with them later. The way we want to go is to the right. And there should be a couple of rats up ahead. There's one there. And then a big rat right here. Oh, timing was a little bit off there. On the ground up ahead, there's some poison. Jump over those. And we are now at the back side of the locked door. And a couple more of these Vulgar Militia to take care of. And we will actually be at the point where we can open all the cell doors and finally get at the loot. Make sure before you drop down that you do actually go over here, get this chest, and open the door. Okay. To the left is back towards the entrance, so we're going to head there and clear out some of these zombies. This is where we dropped it down. And as you may have just noticed, the zombies will occasionally blow themselves up and everything around them. Usually it doesn't do that much damage to the other zombies, but it can interrupt them, throw them around, and otherwise cause them to be in places they shouldn't be or where you don't expect. Okay, so that one's clear. That one is clear. And what am I missing? This is why I use marker stones. This place, even today, still confuses me. Oh, here we go. So this is the one that goes back to the entrance. There's our purple stone we dropped earlier, so... Now, there's not really any reason to kill all of the zombies in here. It is mostly just for completion. Alright, so that one's clear. Some of the caves and the jail cells do have loot in them, so that's why I'm being super, super thorough with this. Pillory shield. A pillory was a piece of wood, kind of like a giant shackle that it would be put on someone's neck to restrict their movements, oftentimes also collected or connected to an arm or even a leg. It was meant as a pretty brutal form of punishment for prisoners back in the day. Oftentimes people were left for weeks or even years with these things strapped to their arms and legs, causing all kinds of permanent damage. So, yeah, the medieval times were not fun. Okay. These guys are a pain because there's so many of them. And they're not even guarding anything. Okay, this is the one that is very easy to miss, and one of the most important things in the dungeon. That's the Wakizashi, some runes, and there's our stone sword key back. The Wakizashi is a dagger class weapon that can actually be power stanced with katanas. It is a unique interaction. Most weapons you have to have the exact same weapon class in order to use. Okay, so this is the loop back to the guardhouse with the lever, so we've already been there. This was the door the two Vulgar Militia were guarding. And this is basically the end of the dungeon. A couple more items of loot, and then we're going to drop down to the boss. Now, if you are playing multiplayer, there is a fog wall right here that will actually prevent your phantoms from helping you until you start the boss fight. So if you're wondering why they don't drop down to help you, it's because they can't. One of the rare instances where you need to start the boss fight right away so they can come help you. So, gladiators, pretty standard stuff. The only thing you really have to watch out for is that chain whip. Everything else, you can see he's already half dead. This is a pretty easy fight for sorcerers. I even forgot to use my Wondrous Physic, otherwise this fight would be over already. Okay, before you fast travel out, make sure you go out the back entrance here. There is one more item to get, and that is the miniature straight sword version of the Executioner sword that the Bell-Bearing Hunters use. Okay, jail cave done. Let's see, what else do we have here? There's a scarab right here and a site of grace, and then these ruins right here will do next. Be careful on the road. There are a couple of pests. If you get their attention, you'll be harassed by their dog while they shoot the homing missiles at you. Not a good time at all. Also, completely zero reason to fight them. Lifesteal Fist. Not an Ash of War I've ever actually used. I'm not really sure what it's good for. I'm sure somebody's got a build that's really, really strong using it, but I'll leave that up to somebody who actually makes a video about it.
Welcome. Dear customer. Yes, welcome you, please. I'm hungry.
Alright. Let's sell off all of these runes. We're going to take a few levels here. All of this grease we don't need. None of these crystals do we need. And okay. So this guy sells the Preserving Boluses. This is a way to get rid of Scarlet Rot. I do recommend you buy all of these whenever you get a chance. Later on in the game, there's a recipe to make them, but until then, supply of these is pretty limited. So at this point, we have, where is it? Only 9 of them. I recommend you do not use them for anything except actually getting rid of the rot when the status bar fully fills. If you're using it to just clean off the buildup, that's a waste, in my opinion, but I'll leave it up to you. Your choice how to spend them. The Grace here is right on the edge of the swamp. Make sure that you do not go actually into the swamp yet. If you do, chances are very good you'll be invaded by Millicent. We don't want to do that quite yet. It doesn't hurt anything, it's just leaving it for later in the video. And we have a couple more things to clear. So this ruins, there's a Starlight Shard somewhere down here, some runes, a dragon, and then the Dragon Communion Temple. Now the dragon is pretty gnarly. You probably should wait until you have completed more of Caelid before you tackle it, because he does hit pretty hard with his rot breath. It can be very, very dangerous to deal with that at the same time as trying to kill the dragon, so just be careful. Okay, as with the road, the ruins are full of pests. Definitely best to... Whoa, I didn't realize I aggroed the dog. I was starting to say, best to take these guys out from range whenever possible. That was interesting. The second one just happened to miss for some reason. There are also these mushroom head spellcaster guys as well. They're not very dangerous, but if you're trying to fight them at the same time as the pests, you're probably going to run into some trouble. I believe there's another couple of dogs. Probably should have taken those guys out first. Okay. Another dog. Be careful of this guy. There is, you can see his head sticking out right above. There's another dog just on the other side of the cliff. Positioned perfectly to stop you from blocking him. Nope, and he got away. There we go. And lastly, we actually have a basement down here. It's full of, I don't know what to call them, half-formed pests. They do shoot the homing missiles, but not as many. But there are a lot of them, so be very careful that you are either super aggressive when you come down here or super careful, because they are kind of everywhere. Oh. And once you've got all of them, you'll get the refill on your potions. So let's see, one more. There we go. And they were guarding the meteorite katana, or meteorite ore stone, or something. What's it called? Meteoric ore blade. Strangely enough, this is actually a strength-based katana that does magic damage and slashing damage. Not very many strength-based katana builds out there, but if you're going to do that, that's your weapon of choice. Okay, so up on the cliff here, there should be a starlight shard. There it is. In case you missed one or needed one more for the quest for the Magic Scorpion Charm. And there should be a Site of Grace right here somewhere. There it is. This is so that you can have a Site of Grace right next to the dragon. So what I'm going to do is actually circle around Exyx, the Corrupted, or whatever his name is, and come back to him after I've taken a couple of levels and gotten these runes up here. Now, be careful with this spot. There are a bunch of the wandering nobles, and one of them turns into a troll with a flaming sword. Is one of those mimic tier enemies. I believe it's this guy right here. So make sure I've got all of the other guys out of the way. So we don't want to fight them at the same time. So as soon as this guy turns into the troll, you're going to want to immediately target him and start firing. As with trolls, usually they're pretty easy, but you know, you want to be on the safe side. Sometimes he aggroes, sometimes he doesn't. Looks like we got lucky this time. Could be a stance break here. There we go. Oh, not Mimic tier, Larval tier. I'm thinking of the Spirit Summon, the Mimic tier. Okay, so that's done, that's done. Let's keep going over to the Dragon Communion Chapel. Temple, whatever. If you're playing an incantations build, this would be the spot you'd want to trade in all of your Dragon Hearts. Mainly because you get access to higher level versions of the default dragon spells. So instead of just Flame Breath, you would get like Aguil's Flame Breath. And each one of these, I believe, costs the same amount. Nope, I'm wrong. So I guess the advanced versions cost sometimes 2. So Dragonfire is the basic version. Aguil's Flame would be the advanced version. Slightly more damage, higher requirements, more FP. But anyway, they're all incantations, so we're not going to waste any time here. Let's get my levels, and we'll go fight that dragon. Now, the biggest thing you need to worry about with Exikes is, like I said, the Rot Breath. It has very, very large area of effect. Oops, 1112, 61. Very, very large area of effect, and in addition to doing a lot of damage, will also do rot buildup. And if you take a bunch of damage and then you get hit by the rot, you're going to have a bad time. The other problem is that a lot of time Exikes gets stuck on the terrain. He can despawn, he can respawn, he can cause your spells to miss because of the weird pathing. All sorts of problems can happen. So you may have to redo this fight a couple of times before he gets down. He also has like a bazillion hit points. So anytime you see him rear up on his back legs, getting ready to breathe rot, you want to sprint away on the horse. Your only defense is to get out of the way. In addition, when he slams into the ground, at his feet, he will often cause little clouds of rot. So be aware of that and be ready to avoid it. Ooh, almost got one shot there. That honestly probably should not have even connected with me, but Elden Ring hitboxes are what they are. So there's that Rot Breath. Be very, very careful to be out of range of that. And more Rot Breath. Let's see if we can get around to the side. And he's flying away again. Typical dragon. Okay, that's the one you need to get very, very, very far away from. Let it clear out, and then you can go back to the fight. Almost got him. Couple more spells. And there we go. 38,000 runes and another dragon heart. This also unlocks the XX Rot Breath spell, which I'm sure you've probably seen in various build or guide videos or boss videos throughout the game. A very, very popular spell to use to fight difficult bosses. Okay, so we've got the dragon toast. I'm going to grab the map marker right here. There is also a Knight's Cavalry that patrols along this road at nighttime, so we'll do that next. Nothing special about this guy, just a dude with a flail, same as all of the other Knight's Cavalry we have fought before, so really nothing special there. And then, after that, we'll go into the area here outside of Redmane Castle. Grab a couple of items, and then we'll clear the swamp after that. Ooh, he almost tried to get me there. Easy cheesy. Alright. Poison Moth Flight. I guess if you wanted to use a poison build, that would be one of the ways to do it. Alright. More cracked pots. More stone sword keys. Rot arrows, very, very good for your bow-only run. And the Great Helm, which is massive, high-level fashion. So, go ahead and buy whatever you want, and then we'll be moving right along. We now have the map unlocked. So, as you can see off in the distance, maybe, right above Renala's hat here, there is a Deathrite bird. Again, only comes out at night. Very, very dangerous enemy to fight. The terrain is absolute garbage. Using the horse is usually the way to go, but it is a very annoying fight. We'll get that right near the end of Caelid when we are fully prepared. A couple of giant birds. We're going to go around them because fighting giant birds is always irritating. Also, be careful. There are several dogs scattered around here as well. We have another golden seed, which is always good. Alright, so what we want to do is head down and around here. There is a catacomb we'll clear. And then swing back towards the bridge before Redmane. And I think I might have just died from fall damage. Nope. Save that one. Whoa, that could have been really bad. Always look before you leap, as the old saying goes. Alright, just before the entrance, there is a giant bird up there. Kind of see him camouflaged. You can just run past and go straight to the entrance. Getting the scarab on the way, of course. You are immune to damage while in the door opening animation, so don't panic there. Just as soon as the animation is done, you just want to spam rolls into the dungeon, and you should be fine. Alright, so one more flask charge. That brings us to 5 and 6. I'm going to go ahead and set that to 4 and 7 just to be on the safe side. At this point, I've got enough blue flasks that I can almost spam spells without thinking about it. Now, typical to catacombs, there's almost always going to be stuff around every corner, so just be aware of that. I believe... Where is this one? These are slimes? Nope, rot flowers. Skeleton for some reason. Okay. Directly below my feet there is a number of rot plants. This place has quite a few secret doors, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the Margot's Shackle to reveal those. The first one is just down here and to the right, so sprint in, kill the flower that's guarding it, grab the loot, and get out before you get rotted like so. Good job. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use... Oh, I'm going to kill the skeleton first. Use one of my anti-rot bullets. Now, you see I'm still getting buildup. That's because I've got rot on my clothes. So the way you deal with that is soap. And as you can see, the buildup is starting to decline now that I've gotten rid of the crap on my robes. Okay. Lots of rot plants, so I'm not going to waste any time fighting them. There's that giant plant again. Run past him. Again, rot on the ground. The switch we want to open the boss door is right here. I'm going to wait for that rot buildup to run down just a little bit so that I can jump across here without getting rotted again. And fortunately, Stake America is right here in case you have a problem with this boss fight. Which, if I remember, is a lightning cat golem. Unless I'm confusing it with another dungeon. Which I am. Nope, it's just one of these guys. So, just watch out for the poison spit, but otherwise spam your spells and sprint away. Typical guy does not have any hit points whatsoever. Okay. So, that's done. We're going to head back out here and then head down this way. The Crag Blade, the Ash of War that's used for many melee builds, is right here. There's a arrow damage talisman at the top of this tower as well, and a Site of Grace right here. So don't forget that there's a giant bird out here. You can run past it, or you can fight it. It's up to you. I tend to just run past. It's not really worth fighting. Fun fact, this is, as far as anybody knows, the only red mane mounted knight. Has a unique horse skin, which I'm sure lots of people would want for Torrent if they could get their hands on it. And he's doing the typical horse knight nonsense. Okay, so you can see the scarab right up there. We're going to have to go around just a little bit to get that crag blade. These soldiers will just fight the dogs, so you can avoid them. You don't have to fight them at all. There we go. So as you can see, there's 2 soldiers up top here guarding the top of the ladder. I recommend killing them before trying to climb the ladder, otherwise you might get knocked off. There we go. And then up top here, there's another couple of soldiers. Nothing too difficult. Just make sure you watch out for the guys, the foot soldiers in the background. They will oftentimes try to sneak up on you and stab you in the back. Okay. Arrow Sting Talisman. Loot. And then nothing up here. Alright, so you can see that this teleporter is active. You do not have to run across the bridge if you don't want to. This will take us, I believe, right to the inside of Redmane Castle. This is also an indication that the Radon Festival has been activated. And that's because, of course, we've already gone to Altus Plateau and activated a grace there. So, we've already been here. Just now we have the map revealed. Okay. Let's get some more upgrades for, hopefully, our Academy Glintstone Staff from Celia Crystal Tunnel. Finally back to the cave where we initially, in Limgrave, took the trap chest in order to get the meteorite staff. Now, with more power, this place should be a breeze, except for the boss. Typical from Soft, you have to fight a relatively difficult boss in a very small area. Falling Star Beasts have a lot of movement. They are very aggressive. And you don't have a lot of room to manipulate the fight and stay in control, so we will get to that when we get to it. In the meantime, watch out for homing missiles, as we are well aware of. The dodge timing is a little bit odd because there are so many missiles, but with a little bit of practice, you should be able to figure it out pretty easily. Just remember that there are 3 of these guys. One, of course, up top of this pillar kind of tower area. The other up there on the walkway. A little bit more high ground here. We should be able to nuke these guys from a distance. See if 3 of those will take care. Oh yeah. So if you remember when we first came through here, it was like 4 or 5 of these spells, but now it's only 2, maybe 3. Yeah, definitely only 2. Okay. Nuke this guy right here. Okay, so navigating through this place is a little bit funky. You actually have to get up on this roof here and jump across. This jump can be a little bit annoying to get this item. You want to actually aim for this little gap right here. Well, if you do it right, but that's okay. I can show you how to get it from the other side here. Up the ladder. There's going to be one more pest right there. Let's get that guy killed. Okay. So if you screw up the jump initially, you can just come at it from this angle and just drop down right here. Now there's this board sticking out, so you can't just walk over and grab the loot. For some reason, you have to actually hop over to the top of the pillar and then circle back around. Alright. A couple more miners up ahead on top of the roof here. There should be a ladder right here. Yep. And the shortcut to unlock in case you get killed is right here. It'll save you quite a bit of time. You don't have to do that stupid run around in that cave over there. More Thumber 4s. If I remember right, there are several more pests. Yep. And there's one guy right around the corner here waiting to ambush. So Carrion Slicer is probably the way to go. There we go. If he does get away and run around the corner, you can just wait for him behind the safety of this little corner here until he's done doing whatever attacks he has, and then you can just shoot him or Carrion Slicer. Up ahead we have the Phlox Talisman, or Faithful's Canvas. That is 2% damage to all incantations. So if you are doing an incantation run, that's your first damage bonus talisman. And then we have the boss. So, Falling Star Beasts. They tend to resist magic damage. I think it's like 40% or something like that. So you're going to do less damage than normal. It tends to charge back and forth quite a lot and jump around a lot. The only real strategy I can give you is to focus on learning the dodges. They can be fairly annoying, but if you stay, for the most part, at medium to long range, or as long as you can with such a small arena, you should be okay. Just focus on survivability rather than aggression. So not too bad, already down to 50%. When he does this, you want to run and then jump 1, 2, 3. Roll at the last minute when he flies up in the air like that. Here's the charge. He's gonna do 3, 1, 2, and then 3. And not too bad. Okay, lots and lots of smithing stones. So that puts us to... Need one more level 5 to get up to 15. I'm trying to think where I can find a level 5 stone. There might be one somewhere in Celia, Town of Sorcery. So let's go ahead and do the swamp next. We'll do the Millicent fight here. A Site of Grace, Commander O'Neill, I believe, right here. And then we got a Site of Graces here as well. Okay, so the swamp, of course, is covered in rot, so stay on your horse as much as possible. watch out for these guys. As always, the dudes with the bows are usually going to be your most dangerous because they might stun lock you. Like so. Grab any old great sword. Oh, we'll wait for him to come back around right here. There we go. More poison ashes of war. Okay, visibility is super bad because it's nighttime and fog, so I'm going to get this Site of Grace and set it to daytime so we don't have to deal with this crap. It's actually not any better. Alright, let's try this again. See if we can get a weather change. And nope. Maybe it's just because it's morning. Anyway. Take this guy out. There is a dog, a rot dog right over here. Somewhere, guarding that piece of loot, which is the rot dog spirit summon. Okay, a little bit more animation reading would be nice from Soft. That would be really awesome. Thank you. Okay. So that's done. If you remember at the very beginning of Limgrave when we got the meteorite staff, there was a rune arc right there. Let's go ahead and get the Site of Grace in the middle of the swamp. So all throughout the swamp area here that I'm about to approach, there are clean rot knights, oftentimes hidden in the ground. They will sometimes pop up beneath you while you're fighting other things. Sometimes they patrol around. See if I can find a couple for you to show what I mean. And the boss fight is up over here, so stay away from that for just a moment here, so I can show you. There is a clean rot knight. There's one right there. And they shoot this homing discs of light at you. Usually you can dodge those pretty easily simply by sprinting on the horse. See if I can find one that's actually in the swamp. But I should get invaded here by Millicent in just a moment. Yep, there's the invasion, so I've been dismounted. And she shows up somewhere. There she is. Now, the only thing you have to worry about with Millicent here is that she will oftentimes do a miniature waterfowl attack. So be aware of that. It can be very dangerous. Oh, and I've got a clean rot knight shooting at me too. There we go. So your main risk when you're fighting all of these guys is if you happen to get into the rot, that extra pressure on your health bar can cause you to make even more mistakes. Just getting all the drops. Wow. Okay. So the ones that come out of the ground look like this. You can see there's a little bit of armor or whatever sticking out. And if you get close, they then climb out of the rot. You do have a little bit of time to light them up before they actually become active. As you can see, they will almost immediately start firing. Okay, so Millicent is done. Let's go and do the the O'Neill fight. O'Neill summons lots of spirit allies. These are exile soldiers with crossbows and crescent moon axes. You really want to just focus all of your damage on the boss. Don't waste any time trying to kill the spirit summons because he will summon more. If you do need, you have a NPC to help you here. But this should be a fairly academic fight. Just stay on your horse and focus on shooting the boss. Make sure you keep moving at a medium to long distance to avoid the crossbow shots. At 50%, he's going to summon more. These will be the guys with the crescent moon axes. Or he should, anyway. Maybe I staggered him out of it. Nope, there they are. So at this stage, you want to really focus on getting the boss down quickly. Once those crescent moon guys get up on you, you're going to have a much harder time keeping your distance. But as soon as the boss is dead, all of the spirit summons will pop a couple seconds later, and you're good to go. So, a couple items he drops. The Commander's Standard. A lot of people use this as a buff in their buff routines. The Unalloyed Gold Needle is an item, quest item we need to give to Gallery the Sage right here at the shack. So let's go ahead and do that next. There's two ways you can approach. From the front gate here, I do not recommend. Coming from Celia through this gate here is probably the better way. There is a dog out front, which if you aggro and then ignore, the dog will actually kill Gallery by accident through the walls, causing the quest to be disrupted, and it's really not a good time. Alright, up behind the boss arena, also, before we go anywhere else, there is a scarab here with an Ash of War. And lots of these giant dragonflies. Now the dragonflies are only here to cause you problems when you're trying to get the scarab, so let's clear out a couple of them. Or all of them if you want. So when the dragonflies do this crap where they're juking back and forth like this, they actually cannot be hit. They're complete iframes as far as I can tell. Okay. If you did want to farm the Clean Rot Knight armor because of fashion or because it's just a really good armor set, you can use the Site of Grace here from the boss. Head right up over this little route. And there are a couple of guys patrolling right here, and like 3 or 4 that will just come out of the ground. Right where this loot is right here. So pop your silver foulfoot and then just start slaying these guys. Then you can circle around back to the Site of Grace. So, alright. Speaking of Sites of Grace, there should be one more right over here somewhere. More rune arcs. Smithing stone 4. Oop. More bad guys. For some reason, I can't seem to find it. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. This is the site of grace you want to activate for fighting the Deathrite bird later on. Okay. So, back to Gallery right here. And actually, I think this side of grace will be the closest. So he's going to ask you to help Millicent by finding the unalloyed gold needle, of which we already have. And the way that you're supposed to advance this quest is by traveling back to a site of grace, but what you can also do is simply quit to the main menu once you give him the needle, and that will also reset his next step. So there's the dog. Do not aggro the dog.
I'd hoped a strap don't fresh. Should you I will teach. I need your name resting. As go on. Now, well, the work of a. Can you give me as well, may? Can as well, may?
So he wants a little bit of time to study the needle. I'm going to actually go ahead and clear out the town here, and then I'll come back and we'll talk to him again. So all throughout the town of Sorcery here, there are, I don't want to say invisible, because they do show up as soon as you get close enough, but there are a lot of invisible sorcerers. Mostly you want to be using Carrion Slicer, as you can see. These guys are... Is there more than one? Hang on. Mostly you want to use Carrion Slicer to interrupt these guys. No, there is two. Trying to target manually with regular glint blades is a little annoying because if you get too far away from them, of course, they disappear. Causing you to lose target lock. And there are a lot of these guys in here. Every time you think you've gotten the last one, you guaranteed there probably will be another one. Okay, so all throughout the town here, you have these sealed doors. And the way that you unlock these is by climbing to the rooftops. And there are three, see if I can get a good angle here, three of these towers like this. There's a bell tower over there. Each one of them has a torch that you have to light. So usually it's easier to clear out the town first and then get the rooftops, but it's up to you however you want to do it. The worst part also is that as soon as you rest at a site of grace, all of these guys will respawn. So make sure you do everything either in one go, or you get very, very good at running past them. Hit detection is a real problem sometimes. Kind of annoying. Come on. I really hope that if in any future Souls titles we have, that FromSoft does not use this invisible enemy idea again. It is more annoying than anything else I can think of. Okay, in addition, there is a boss fight right here, which also, as you can see, is sealed. That one opens up after you've activated all three of the towers. So usually I start up here with this one. You can jump off onto this route right here. Each one of these that you activate also unlocks one of those minor locked rooms as well. So we'll be getting all 3 and then going around and collecting all the loot. This item, fortunately, does not require any unlocks. It's the Staff of Loss. This is one of our key items for our build, because once we have finished helping with Millicent, Gowry will sell us a number of spells, one of which is, I believe, Night Comet, if you don't get it in one of the secret rooms here instead. So Night Comet plus the Staff of Loss is very, very good damage. Now, we don't actually cast with the Staff of Loss. We'll just hold it in our offhand. And it gives that passive bonus to all night spells. Same way we're currently using the Carrion Glintblade Staff. Okay, that's number 2. Now there should be a couple of enemies. That guy, and I believe there's another one right there. Looks like he already aggroed too, so hopefully he'll just get taken out by the spells. Perfect. And there's also a scarab over there. That is the double slash Ash of War. It's actually a pretty good Ash of War for melee. There's that target loss again. Hopefully the first spell gets him. Yep. Fortunately, with the way Magic Glintblade works, as long as you get the spell off before the target lock drops, the spell should still connect. Okay, so that's all 3 seals. A couple more items left to grab here. On the rooftops, that is. Go, double slash. Alright. I think that's it. We have a painter's puzzle right here. This one is located, I believe, roughly right here. And is guarded by a very, very dangerous high-level golem. Okay, so our 3 locations for the loot that we've unlocked is right here. Oh, there's the Night Comet spell. Guess we don't buy it from Gowry. The second one is right here. That's the upgrade for the Magic Resistance Talisman. And the third one is around behind here. Oh, one more wizard. Like I said, every time you think you've gotten them all, there's always one more. I believe this is our last imbued sword key. Perfect. Okay, so that's Caelid Town of Sorcery done. There's a little boss fight here. We'll do that next. It is 2 Nox twin dolls things. I'm not sure what to call them. One has a kind of a whip sword. The other one has a couple of, what do I call them? Fist weapons. As a melee build, they're kind of annoying to fight, but as sorcery, once again, fairly academic, pretty easy fight for us to do. The main reason we want to kill these guys, though, is because they are guarding Lusat's Glintstone Staff, which is arguably the best Glintstone Staff in the game. So, get your Glint Blades ready. Nothing really too complex, mostly just, you know, casting spells and staying out of reach. These guys do automatically dodge spell casts, though, so just be aware that you might have to cast 2 or 3 times more than you normally would to hit them. But as you can see, they don't really have that many hit points. And they are fairly passive when not in melee range, so... Alright, that should be it. Nox Flowing Sword. And what we want, Lusat's Glintstone Staff. Also, if you look up, we have an empty giant throne where the guy that was supposed to be sitting there went to, nobody knows. Alright, so Lusat Staff. Requirements. 52 intelligence, which we almost have. Theoretically, you could equip this and use it by slapping on the... No, I guess we still don't have enough. Okay, we just need more levels. Leave that for later then. Same thing with Night Comet. Let's see if we actually have enough. Looks like 38 intelligence, so yeah, let's go ahead and switch over to Night Comet. So that means getting rid of the Carrying Glintblade Staff in favor of the Staff of Loss. And we're in light equip mode. Do we have enough to... Where is it? Nope, still medium. Need a couple more points of endurance. But that's okay. Okay, so Town of Sorcery is done. Let's go back and talk to Sage Gowry. Night Comet does pierce through targets, so not only does it do a lot of damage, it can kill things very easily by shooting through them. You can also charge it up for even more damage. So, very, very powerful spell. The best part, though, is that, unlike normal spells, casting Night Comet does not trigger enemies that auto-dodge. Cannot stress how important this is. This is far, far better than any raw damage you might get from another spell. There are many spells that do more damage, but when it comes to just straight reliability and functionality, Night Comet is the way. Alright, so Gowry has fixed the needle, and we are going to take it up to Millicent. Alright, and that is accessed via a door here at the top of Celia. So, back to this site of grace once again. And go all the way up the stairs. And right through here. Now, along the way on this path, there are going to be these rolling boulders, very similar to Rhea Lucaria, that will try to knock you off the path. Like so. They probably won't actually kill you, but they can do a little bit of damage, and it's kind of annoying, but mostly you just stick to the side. Not really that much of an issue. And up ahead, we have another chapel guarded by pests. You don't have to fight these guys. I like to take them out just to be on the safe side. There are a couple more that patrol around here too, so let's get those guys first. It looks like a fully charged version is needed to take them out in one hit. And I thought there was one more somewhere. Do your best to get as many of these sacrificial buds as you can. These are used in the recipe to create the rot cleansing boluses. And if I remember right, they do not respawn when you collect them, so it is limited supply. Alright, a couple more, I think. Nope. Alright, good enough. So, this is Millicent. She will follow you all throughout the rest of the game. So be very, very careful to not attack her by accident.
You are quell, but never mind. I would rather than simply. Would you mind? Well,
Right, so she passes out for a second, so just fast travel right here at the site of Grace.
my apology. Everything, even the night. Not that I could.
Plus 5 dexterity talisman.
I'm with the needle. My destiny. It's all thanks. My name is Mill. I'm with the needle. My destiny.
Okay, the next time we see her will be all the way up in Altus Plateau, up here next to the windmills. Technically, if you do this part of her quest before going to Altus, she can actually help you against the Magma Worm Makar fight. You can summon her right outside the fog wall. Okay, before we head back to Gallery, there's a couple of things we can do up here along the road. There is a giant troll right here that would throw pots on you down here, or sometimes, if you're not careful when you're fighting the Deathrite bird, that's extra annoying. There's a little bit of a gatehouse here, and then a Bloodhound Knight right here guarding a spell. So let's go and do that now. Along the way, there are bats, there are demi-humans, and those harpy-type enemies, these guys. Get a lot of practice here with Night Comet. As you can see, very, very strong. It does use more FP than you might be accustomed to, so you might have to adjust your pacing for drinking potions. Each one of the harpies you kill should, on their first kill, drop these golden rune 9. So this is very, very good rune farm. Well, not really a farm because it's not repeatable, but excellent, excellent runes the first time through. And there are a lot of them for some reason. Oh, don't fall off the cliff. That is definitely certain death if you fall that far. So you get usually about 7 or 8 casts off before you have to drink. So if you can imagine using Lusat's staff, which increases the FP cost by 50%, you will do a lot more damage, but you will go through your mana bar super fast. Also, you're going to have to adjust your casting style to actually face your target somewhat. Unlike Magic Glintblade, you can't simply walk directly away from your target while casting. You do need to be about, call it a 140 to 150 degree arc. You have to be sort of facing your target. Okay, up here in this gatehouse, there is a bit of an ambush. There are a couple of invisible sorcerer types. I'd like to sneak in. And there's a swordsman guy on the left, I believe, and a wizard on the right. Oh, there he is. So, these guys can be a little bit dangerous because if they do manage to ambush you, they can drain your hit points very, very quickly. More runes. And then up here at the top of this area is a broken tower. There is a Bloodhound Knight just inside to the left. We'll just nuke him from range. There we go. And get the spell Eternal Darkness. Sounds really intimidating. It's a bit of a strange spell to use. What it does is creates a black hole directly above and in front of you that will suck in any ranged spells cast at you. I've seen people use it on Elden Beast. It seems more like a gimmick to me, but it can potentially be a nice defensive move. I have never actually used it in combat though, so your mileage may vary. Okay, so we need to get back to Gallery once again. I don't recommend trying to drop down the cliff. That usually results in getting killed, so we're just going to go back to the Site of Grace. Lots and lots of running. Again, if you don't want to do this running, you can always just hang out next to Gallery and then quit to the main menu and then continue. That operates exactly the same as returning to a Site of Grace. Okay, Millicent is here.
Oh, something. So I decide I've only perhaps. Well, I must.
So I'll go ahead and show you how the quitting into main menu works. Just like so.
Thank for giving the... And stare, you've been as thank of the lost. Oh, indeed. It seems that, however, she... No, as I've a is to be for...
Okay, so now he says he spells. I was confusing Night Comet with Night Shard. Glintstone Stars is kind of weak. Now, Night Maiden's Mist, I've heard people use to great effect, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it to have it in the list. In between videos, I'll look up which bosses that's actually really good against. For the most part, you don't really need to do anything besides use Night Comet and Carrion Slicer. This is your bread and butter for the entire rest of the game. There are, of course, going to be some bosses where certain spells will be slightly more useful. Fire Giant, for example, or Elden Beast, absolutely shredded by Spiral Shard, but we'll get to that when we get those spells. So, at this point, the quest chain with Gallery and Millicent is at an end for Caelid, so I'm going to mark that as done. This is done, that's done, and the tower is done. A couple more things. There's a Everjail right here. A smithing stones. Actually, I think this will be my level 5 smithing stone right here. And if I remember right, let's see, where is it? There's another dungeon. It's either right here or right here. So let's go ahead and get that next. I think I want the Smoldering Wall Site of Grace. Okay, perfect. This was the Site of Grace I was thinking it was. So, just up here on the other side of this ravine and past a few of these very large dogs, there's a cave entrance into a cave filled with rot. The tricky part about it is that the Site of Grace is actually on a, I don't know what to call it, it's on a cliff that you can't jump back up to once you drop down into the cave. So if you do get killed down in here, the only way that you're going to be able to get your runes back and escape is by either killing the boss or by equipping a sacrificial branch. So if you are carrying a lot of runes, you may want to actually rest and use those runes before you go down here. This place is a little bit gnarly. Mostly because, of course, as you're running through the ground, you're going to get rot buildup. But these geysers here that happen also, if you get hit by them, they're going to do significant amounts of damage. So if you're already taking damage from rot and then you get hit by one of these, you're probably going to die. And you'll have to make another shot at running through. So it is possible to reach the final boss of this area without taking any rot damage, but it is very challenging. So have your preserving boluses ready, or if you're playing incantations, use Flame Cleanse Me. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Your first thing you want to do is drop down onto this little piece of mushroom right here. Wait for this geyser to go off. And we're going to sprint and then jump. Try not to roll through here. If you do roll, you'll get that, that rot on your clothes that takes a lot longer to come off, and the status bar will continue to fill even though you're not actually standing in rot. Once you do actually get fully rotted though, it doesn't actually matter if you have the stuff, the funk on your clothes. You can then just roll as much as you want. So, oh, there we go. So even though I'm not getting any rot buildup, you can see I am taking significant damage from these geysers and their lingering damage field. See if I can get out of here without taking any more damage. A little bit. That's not too bad though. Alright, the first part is past. So the next part, there's a mushroom wizard, poison dude right here. We're going to take him out. And then my plan is to jump directly down to that wheel. And there's a little bit of a safe spot there between all the geysers. So I'm going to wait for that one to go off. Right here. Grab loot. Wait for this geyser to go off. And then run past. And at this point, I'm mostly in the clear. There's a couple of rats and things along the way, but nothing really too dangerous. Now, the final boss of this place is a double clean rot night fight. Fortunately, you only have to fight them one at a time. Or you should be able to have enough damage to kill the first one before the second one actually enters the fight. So effectively for us, it should be a 1 versus 1 fight. Now the room right before the boss is right here, and it does have a giant rot flower. This thing will spew a rot cloud. So make sure you hit it with some fire to turn that off. Up here we have the Serpent Fang, I want to say. Venomous Fang. And then across the way there's a couple of poison wizards. So I think we can hit them from here. Yes, perfect. Once again, he's trying the Rot Cloud. Okay, and that's pretty much the entire cave. So the next spot is going to be the boss fight. As I said, your damage should be good enough to just take these guys out one at a time. If you do have to fight them both at the same time because you're not doing enough damage, it probably means you're much too low level to be in here. So either use a spirit or summon some help. Yeah, literally just 4 casts and it's toast. So the second one is going to pop up right here in the little rot puddle. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And dead before he even gets to attack. So pretty easy. Now the reward is the gold scarab. This is a talisman that as long as it is equipped will give you, I want to say 15% or 20% bonus runes. But only from kills. So not from any, so you can't just equip it and then consume all of your golden runes down here. That doesn't work. But anyway. A little bit of a gnarly place, but cleared and done. Next up, there is a small graveyard here with some runes. We're going to jump across this chasm right here and activate the map fragment. So this entire area up here that has not yet been revealed, I call this Northern Caelid. Really, it's anything east of the map marker and up here to the northwest into this area outside of Garank's Sanctum. This is all like level 90 to level 100 content. So don't go over here to the east if you don't have to. It's pretty nasty. Now, the one exception you might want to do is right here. There is, can't remember the name of the fort, but it has the second half of the Dectus Medallion. This is important for us to be able to use the Dectus Lift without being attacked by the golems. Now, we've already been to Altus through the ruin-strewn precipice up in northern Liurnia. So we don't actually need the second half of the Dectus Medallion, but it may prove useful if you wanted to use that lift to go up and down. Alright. Lots of zombies, nothing worth fighting. Try to avoid aggroing the dogs. Those are the more dangerous enemy by far. There we go. And we're going to hop over right here. Now, fortunately, there is a site of grace right up ahead, so if you do happen to run into any problems while you're clearing this area, you shouldn't have too much of a run back. Alright, stick to the road to the right. That's a preview of Bale from the DLC. Already face down on the ground. Alright. Sadly, these minor dragons here actually do not drop any dragon hearts. So you can kill them, but it is literally just runes. Up here there is a scarab. A little bit higher level, so it's going to take a couple of shots to kill. Well, by a couple, I mean 4. And it does explode, so don't get hit by that. So, that's a Somber Stone 8. And then down here, can't really see it from here, but there's a bunch of loot down there, so we're going to go grab that next. Alright, Dragon Grease, Somber Stone 9. I believe a Rune Arc. Yep, and the Arteria Leaf. Okay, so cleared, cleared, cleared. The only thing we have left to do is there is Battle Mage Hughes, I believe, inside this Everjail. And then a stone statue that I can break for, which I think it's right here, for some more smithing stones. I guess we can steal this loot from these dragons. I don't think it's anything important. Gravel stone. Oh, Golden Rune 5. Pretty nice. Okay, so let's see. Where is this statue? It's in here somewhere. There it is. So the main thing you want to do is to lure one of the dragons over here. I don't think you can pull the ones that far from over there. There's a third dragon, however, right on the other side of this wall, this firewall. Right here. Your main thing you want to watch out for is when you are luring the dragon over, you don't want to fall off of this cliff right here. So putting those markers up will help with that. Alright, dragon, let's go. Nope, he's not paying attention. There we go. This is one of the more annoying enemies to have to lure to a stone statue. Dragons get stuck on the terrain a lot. I really hope that the next time we get a FromSoft game, dragons are designed a little bit better. As they are right now, pretty irritating. You can shoot this guy as much as you want. He has lots and lots of hit points. Yep, he's stuck on the branches. Alright, where's the statue? There we go. A little bit farther. Perfect. So now that that's broken, circle around so I don't accidentally fall off the cliff. And one more. Perfect. Okay, so where did the loot go? Smithing Stone 5. So I believe that was the last set of 5s we need to actually upgrade the Academy Glintstone Staff to a point where it's actually going to be worth using. So I'm going to fight this guy in the Everjail. After getting a refill on my potions. Not that it actually matters at this point. Costs as much to get the refills back as it does to kill the scarab. Okay. Battle Mage Hughes can be dangerous. He hits pretty damn hard. The main thing, he doesn't really actually do anything that any of the other Battle Mages do. He just does it with a little bit more damage. So mostly what you can do is actually abuse the fact that there's some terrain that you can hide behind while shooting at him. So anytime he decides to cast, you can then just hide behind the terrain. Sometimes he also gets stuck like this, so that's a little bit cheesy. I'm going to hopefully pull him away from that, maybe? Nope, he is completely stuck, isn't he? Nope, there we go. So he's going to sit back there and try to cast. 100% use the terrain against him. He does a lot more damage than you do. Also, if he's not going to be smart enough to hide behind terrain, then why should we not take advantage? Okay, Battle Mage Hughes. Or Hughes, or however you pronounce that. Alright, so 400,000 runes. And let's see, at this point, so everything else here is way too high level. So this is all level 90 to 100. I can go take a look at this merchant, but at night there is a bell-bearing hunter that spawns here who is very, very difficult. I do not recommend you fight him at level 61 or 65 or whatever we're at. And everything else here is all higher level, so we're just going to leave this for later. Now, on the way to the merchant, there are a lot of big dogs. Probably easier to try to skirt around towards the edge of the cliff, but there's even a dog over there as well, so I guess just kind of do your best to avoid aggro. There is a site of grace up here, though, so if you do manage to have one of them chase you, you can activate that and then rest very quickly to avoid getting eaten. Also, make sure you set it to daytime so you do not end up fighting the bell-bearing hunter before you are ready.
Well, there's been an eight. How can I?
Alright. Lots and lots of runes to sell. Let's see what we're up to at the end of it. Okay, so that brings us up to 435,000 runes. So, Ritual Pot. Beast Repellent. So if you do ever have problems with dogs, you can use this. It does come in pretty handy in a couple of areas. Everything else here is just kind of whatever. Serpent Arrows, very, very nice if you're doing a bow build. Spiked Caestus is your starting weapon for punching builds. Otherwise, we really, really don't need any of this stuff. Maybe the pants for fashion purposes.
Never safe.
Alright. So, what else do we have left? Got the loot here. Oh, there is one more scarab right here I forgot to get. So, let's first actually stop by EG. We'll upgrade that Academy Glintstone staff, and we'll see how the spell power matches up with Meteorite staff. Alright, where are we at here? We have 3 of these things, so... You can also ask him about Nokron and Blade. He's got some lore stuff for you.
Going only lies, to be honest. Lie, Granny's they would always when Lady lies, but none of us promised to look a man. Well, after years by going and only lies, to be honest.
Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we need one more smithing stone, 6, to take it up to 16. I believe we can get that right before we fight Radon. So, for the time being, though, let's go ahead and suck down the physic. So, the Meteorite Staff is currently 213, and the Academy is 218 while under the effects of the physic. So, we're actually pulling ahead, finally. And without the buff from the physic, we are at 188 versus 192. So, at this point, the Academy Glintstone Staff is actually the better staff. So, upgrades. We're doing pretty good here. Alright, what do we have next then? That's right, we gotta go get this scarab. Oh, I almost forgot the Deathrite bird as well. Alright, the scarab should be on a tiny little island right over here. There we go. Poisonous mist. And I believe, as I said, we already got this loot from the chairs. Where was it? Somewhere here nearby. I am brain farting. Where is it? Ah, right here. Yeah, so we did get this already. Perfect. Okay, so next up then is going to be the Deathrite bird, which is right here. We got all of this, and then Redmane Castle will not be fully explorable until after the Rodon Festival. So I think that's everything. So yeah, let's go fight this Deathrite bird. Super, super annoying and difficult boss. And we'll set it to a night time. And try out this new staff on arguably... I can't say the worst boss in the game, because there are definitely ones that are worse than this, but Deathrite birds are always super, super annoying to fight. So there's not really a clean open space to fight, but you do probably want to avoid the cliffside, so stick to this kind of lower area. Mostly this spot right here is probably your best bet. There's not really enough room that you would want, but you're just going to have to do your best. Hitboxes, of course, are super janky with Deathrite birds. Especially when they spam lots of flying attacks. Now you have to be very careful when you're using the horse, because what will happen sometimes is the fire on the ground will clip Torrent's feet, causing him to stagger and potentially knocking you out of mid-air. Kinda silly. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Somehow I managed to avoid getting hit. Nice. Alright, we got him down to 50%. That was interesting. I've never seen him hang in the air for that long. Huh. Okay. See if we can keep him at a medium range here. So far he hasn't done the cross-slash explosion. I'm a little worried about that not showing up yet. Oh, one more should do it. Hopefully I don't get killed in the meantime. And of course, more flying. And there we go. So, very irritating boss, but we did pretty good. 15,000 runes, bringing me to 439. And that clears all of Caelid. Now, I guess I could do Redmane Castle, but I think I'll leave that for its own video after I fight Radon. Go ahead and do that next. Radon is very, very much a spectacle fight. You can, if you so choose, summon hordes and hordes of NPCs to help you fight. So, let's talk to all the NPCs first. Polite bow. Live.
Let's give them a just don't you.
All of these guys are just spirits.
Indeed, I by the bar. Well,
Alexander.
but be sure to get
Best pot.
I.
And then also, this dude, I can't remember his name. Jaren. That's right.
The festival.
Get a cutscene. Don't skip that. Talk to him again. You get another gesture. Heartening cry.
Were divested of and howling.
Okay, so now the door to his elevator should be open, but also more importantly, past here, there should be one more Somber Stone 6. Perfect. So now we can take our Glintstone Staff to plus 14. So we're going to do that before doing the boss fight. Oh, never mind. I'm missing Smithing Stone 5s, not 6s. Okay, well, that was wrong. Either way, we're still ahead of the Meteorite Staff, so not a big deal. Feel like I'm missing some stone level 5 somewhere. What am I missing? What am I forgetting? All of this is done. Done. Did the Gale Tunnel. Huh. Maybe the Hideaway? But that's part of the higher level area. Selen's Quest. Oh well. Screw it. We'll just go fight Radon. Okay, one final level up. Brings us to 66. Execute order 66. Oh. Well, don't I feel stupid now? Upgraded 2 different staffs. So, I guess one more trip back to EG. Let's make sure I've got them. Yeah, there's the level. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Upgraded 2 different Academy Glintstone staves. For some reason, I can only explain by lack of sleep.
Greetings, my
Knew I was missing something. God. Wow, what a waste of resources. Fortunately, you only ever need to upgrade 1 non-somber staff, so didn't end up hurting too bad in the end. So we're at 201 versus 193, and then with the physic, it goes up to 228 versus 218. So 10 full sorcery scaling ahead. And most of the fighting is going to be done from the horseback, so I'm going to go ahead and swap out for... Where is it? A little extra damage for fighting Radon. As long as I'm medium equip load... Oh, no, it's still light equipment load. Nice. Slap on some heavier armor. I don't think I can get up to 51 poise. 41. Not without replacing the funny hat, so Yeah, I guess we're going full armor for the time being. Wait a second. 47. Could go up to 51, but I'd give up 3 intelligence points. Let me check Lusats. So Lusats is still 52 dex. We're missing 2 intelligence points, so even with... Ooh, I could lower my defenses with the Scar Seal. That is some real garbage defenses. Yeah, why not? Well, let's first see what Lusats will give me for spell scaling. Okay, 237. Wait a sec. Elden's 53. Oh, I need 2 points of strength to equip Lus. Okay, well, never mind. Oh, you need strength to equip sorcery staves? Come on. I guess that means I'll be using the Carrion Regal at some point. Yeah, strength 8. Okay, perfect. Alright, back to Radon. What a waste of time. Okay. Radon, as you may or may not know, is, as I said, a spectacle fight. You can summon many, many, many NPCs. You don't have to, but it does make the fight a lot easier. Most of the fight will be spent on the horse running away from Radon while casting spells. He does have a lot of gravity attacks, which will draw you in, or otherwise throw things at you. In addition, he has a phase 2 transition where he flies up into the sky and then crashes down as a meteor. When that happens, you want to run away from the center of the arena as far as possible. And other than that, nothing really too complex. The same basic strategy. You do not want to be in melee with this guy as a sorcerer. So, now initially we're going to run to the right on the horse. And put one of these little weird 3-pronged sticks in the way of the first shot. Now if you're sprinting on the horse perpendicular to the boss, the shot should miss you. And what we're aiming for is the edge of these dunes to block the shots until we can get close enough. It's going to do that, which is the rain of arrows. You can just sprint to maintain your distance and avoid it. We'll use the cover of this edge of the dunes to get close enough to start shooting ourselves. He'll switch to his melee weapons, so you're going to want to sprint away anytime he even looks like he's going to attack you. Trick is to always be 180 degrees so you can fire slightly backwards. And hopefully this will not take too long because it looks like we're doing pretty good damage to him. So there's that grab attack. Nothing too dangerous. These are a little annoying because they can home in on you, but... Alright, there's phase 2. We're going to run away, refill our flasks. He should come crashing down right over here somewhere. There we go. And I seem to be missing quite a lot with my spells, so... Oh, that's gonna hurt. But he hit the horse instead of me. That's good. If I can bait an attack here. He's running away from me. Again, hit the horse, even though it probably shouldn't have. We're still doing really good here. As you can see, generally staying just at a medium to long range is the way to go. So far, nothing he's done has been really that dangerous. Now, if you get hit by these, they will drag you into the boss, or stagger you like so, and Torrent is almost dead, which will be bad if I get hit. But I think, yep, and there we go. Pretty easy. Remembrance of the Star Scourge. So, we're going to get a short cutscene here, and then we will want to talk to both Blythe and Alexander. Make sure that you activate this Site of Grace, by the way. Be very, very annoying to come all the way from the elevator anytime you want to come down here.
What is the glory of falling? I can't father. He was a living. The path is now to Nokra. Let's meet. We'll take up us. We'll go into my only purpose. The curtain's right. We'll go into my only purpose. The curtain's right.
Alright, so Blythe has been exhausted for his dialogue, and Alexander also needs a pep talk.
Aye, one hit after that, and as such, as luck would, if I can, and you know, who could expect it? Just you wait. Who could expect it? Just you wait.
Alright. If you want, you can run around the map. There's, I believe, a couple of arrows you can pick up, like these. Radon spears. These are arrows for the great bow that you can buy from his remembrance. In addition, all the way down here in the corner, there is a dungeon entrance to again, a level 90 to 100 dungeon. I will activate the grace there, but I will not be doing that dungeon yet because the final boss of it is a ulcerated tree spirit that's like level 120 or something. It's a really high level boss. And it will absolutely one-shot me. Actually, most of the things in that catacomb will one-shot me. It's a little hard to see, but up there is a series of roots and things you can jump down to grab the painter's puzzle that we picked up in Celia, guarded by that very, very difficult laser golem that I mentioned. Probably harder to fight than Radon, if I'm being honest. Alright, here is that entrance. Okay, so back to the Redmane Castle. We're going to talk to Jaren. So now, after you talk to him, Redmane Castle will revert to its normal explorable state. This includes a boss fight right here. I'm sorry, right here in the arena where normally everybody would be gathered. And that is the dual Crucible Knight and Leonine Misbegotten. Again, you can fight them one at a time if you're very, very fast, but that is also a difficult fight to do. Go ahead and do that next after I finish talking to him here.
I have a task. May we meet again. It's may we meet again.
Alright, so I think there is no more stuff to do here, so what I will do is teleport over here across the bridge, grab the loot from right here, head around the outer wall to this back entrance. There's another item here, and then come up and clear the inside of the castle from that direction. Oh, might as well show you this then before I do all of that. So once you've talked to Jaren and you've killed Radahn, you head back out here, you'll see that there's a fog wall, and that indicates that the castle is back in its explorable state. So all of the enemies will be available to fight in here. The other thing you can do is head back to Round Table, turn in the Remembrance. Grab some more dialogue. So, Radahn's Remembrance is either a sword or a great bow. Of the two, I think that the Lion Great Bow is probably the better pick, but I know a lot of people really, really like these great swords, so pick whichever one you want. I personally don't use either one for sorcery, so the Remembrance will be turned into more runes. Now, equipment, which you can buy, are arrows, of course. We picked those up in the arena. And all of his armor pieces, which is a very, very good armor value. I don't recommend you use this helmet. It tends to block the camera. Alright, this is going to take us up to all kinds of high levels of poise and armor. 64 poise. Very, very high armor. We're still medium equipped load. Oh, I did that whole thing with the Scar Seal on. Good job. Stupid. Wow, I should have taken a lot more damage from that Radahn fight. Okay, so it does make you a little bit bulky, not very wizard looking, but it actually doesn't clash with Renala's hat quite as hard as other armor sets, so I guess we'll go ahead and stick with this for now, even though it looks a little silly. Talk about a walking tank. Alright, and back to Redmane. Oh, Nokron, the next stage is right here, marked on the map. We'll do that in the next video. But for now, Redmane Castle. So, on the way across the bridge, you're going to get shot at by catapults. You can easily just go to one side, then the other. You should not have any trouble with getting hit. There are a couple of soldiers on the far side here, but nothing that's even remotely dangerous. There is a knight right here. Oops, regular soldier first, then a knight. And running out of spell power partway through. Super pro. Okay. Now, there is an item up at the top of this siege tower here, but you can't reach it from below in the camp. You actually have to go around. Now, there is a crossbow that will shoot you off of your horse if you get in front of it right here. So either wait for it to fire and then go past, or you can jump over the stakes in the ground. Works just as well. Once these guys are dead, a troll will drop down from above, that guy up there. So make sure you do not get squished by that. Pretty standard troll fight. Okay, now in order to get back inside the castle, the front gate, as you can see, is closed, so you actually have to go around this way. And this is how you get into the top of the siege tower. I'm not sure why this guy doesn't ever shoot at you. Maybe it's bugged, couldn't tell you. But after you kill him, you can drop down right here and grab this smithing stone 6. Oh, and should have waited to get on the horse there. Okay, now we can continue on towards the back entrance to Redmane Castle. Heading around these cliffs. Watch out for the bats. And there is a small gap here that you have to jump right at the top of this section. And I'm still getting used to the higher FP cost of Night Comet. Okay, so watch out for this little gap here because you can fall to your death right there. The developers put that in that spot specifically to trick you. The Scarab here with an Ash of War. All right. So, this door I think will not be open. Correct, does not open from this side. So what we have to do is drop one of these marker stones just so we can tell where we're at when we come back around from the other side. And then you have to go down here and climb up this ladder. And FromSoft loves their super long ladders for some reason. I could not tell you why. Okay, still got 4 potions left. Assassinating enemies with Carrion Slicer is easily the more efficient way to do this. Especially when they are individual soldiers posted up and not groups of soldiers. Knights, of course, you want to use Night Comet on. You can also take them out with Slicer, of course. Alright, make sure I don't miss anything here. Okay. There's a dog right there. And here is that back entrance for that door that was locked. Okay, so now that that is clear, what am I missing? This, I believe, goes down to the front courtyard. couple of blade cats here. You can definitely fight these guys one at a time. And missed my slicer attack there. That's unfortunate. Okay, now that both of those guys are dead, run in here. Grab this recipe. This loot. And I believe... So this goes back to the site of grace right around through here. I believe there's also one item right here. Let me double check. And then you can jump right back up to here. So, what else am I missing? Okay, to get over to that item, actually, you have to go through that doorway right there. So fortunately, you can just hop up to this wall, then roll right to here. Let's see, I'm down to my last little bit of magic points, so I think I'll do this and then go right to the site of grace. Good old Flamberge. Surprisingly, though, of the great swords that you can use bleed on, I would say that the Claymore is actually probably the better option to use blood affinities. If you're going to use the Flamberge, I would say go with a cold affinity. That way you get both bleed and cold status effects. The Flamberge is only about a middle tier when it comes to like actual physical hits of damage, so that is definitely not its strength. Focusing on status effects would be the way to go. Okay, so right up around the corner here is the site of grace, so somehow I got into combat. Oh, the flamethrower guys. Okay. Another knight, I believe. No, just regular guys. A surprising number of smithing stones inside this castle. Alright, and over here we have a Abductor Virgin. Usually these guys are honestly not worth fighting. But given the amount of power we have at this point with the build, not too difficult to take out. Alright, Red Hot Wet Blade. This is the item that lets you set your Ashes of War to the Fire or Flame Art affinity. Very, very good for Strength and Faith builds. Alright, a couple more dudes, and then we will get to the boss fight. Okay, so that is actually 2 more level 6 stones than I needed. Of course, always getting more is better. And at this point, that is the entirety of Redmane Castle, except for the boss fight. So let's go ahead and reset the flasks and show you how to do that. The last time we fought a Leonine Misbegotten, we had to use a Rucksling because it had enough stagger and interrupt to be useful. This time around, we have Carrion Piercer. So if you've ever done a Claymore or a Zweihander run, this is very, very similar. Now we're going to start the fight by doing some damage with Knight Comet at range, but as soon as the Misbegotten gets close enough, we're going to switch to Piercer, and a fully charged Piercer will interrupt and sometimes stagger the boss. So, also doing a lot of damage. So, just like that. Pretty easy. Much, much safer than using Rocksling, because Rocksling takes so long to cast. Now, Crucible Knights are Crucible Knights, so you're going to have to deal with them the same way you always do. But as you can see, a fully charged Piercer also interrupts these guys as well. As usual, when he flies in the air, that's your opportunity to refill your magic points. And there we go. So, much, much easier to fight when you have higher intelligence, better spells, and an all-around stronger build. So, that's Redmane Castle. Last thing we have left to do in Caelid for the time being is to get the Divine Tower and unlock the Radon Great Rune. Now, there is unlocking the Great Rune at the top of the tower, which is relatively easy. Down in the basement of the tower, however, there is a, what do they call them? Godskin, not the Noble. What do they call it? Disciple, Acolyte, something like that. The skinny one. You can fight that guy now. I don't recommend it. He is fairly high level. Similar to everything else in Dragon Barrow. He's going to be roughly level 90. In order to get there, of course, we have to do this nonsense ladder climb. Now, there are a couple of items along the way. I don't recommend you spend too much time out here because it is pretty annoying, even with Torrent. This place is designed to cause you to fall off And, of course, die from gravity damage. Like so. Alright, I am missing... And they do stuff like this where they make the ledge super narrow. They push the ladder out farther than it needs to be. So, just intentionally bad platforming design in order to try to get you to fall. So, alright, so my next move here is going to be to drop down since I already screwed that up. And I'm going to have to go all the way around. That's really annoying. Oh, maybe not. Okay, good. I think I can just climb all the way back up here. Fortunately, once you get up to the top, there is a site of grace, so you won't have to do this nonsense platforming a second time. There we go. Okay, so if you go to the left, that leads down to the basement, and a lot of annoying platforming. We're not going to do that. We'll come back later when we do Dragon Barrow and Northern Caelid. For the time being, we're going to go right, and this will lead us up to the Great Rune Unlock. Alright. Next up in the following video, we'll do Nokron and the Starfall Crater. Alright, back to the round table. We'll see what they have to say about the development of defeating a third Shardbearer. I don't think they say anything new. I'm not mistaken. Nope. Nope.
I've decided I'm off in soon. May not if there's any.
Corrin simply says that he's going to be moving to Altus Plateau. Roger is already toast. Thea and Dee, we've already advanced their quest. We've already talked to Roderica.
Well, I took you no matter. Lay out your arm.
Okay. Not enough runes for that.
Just you think you may be.
Okay. So, that is everything for Caelid Wilds. Clear out all of those. And as I said, next time we'll be heading down here into Nokron. So I'm going to park here at the Fort Height, Site of Grace. We're at level 66. plus 16 Academy Glintstone Staff and a Staff of Loss offhand. Renala's hat, as usual, for plus 3 Intelligence. And the Radon gear for Poise. Everything else is offense-oriented. 4 heal potions, 7 magic potions. Wondrous Physic is intelligence and magic damage. So, at this point, we've got everything for the build except for, I think, the Godfrey icon in Altus and the Ritual Sword Talisman, which is also in Altus. So, build is going really strong at this point. We are more or less 90% of the way there. The rest is just levels and spamming Night Comet and back to Carrion Slicer. Where are we at here? Slicer. There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I don't think I missed anything, and we're moving right along. Probably about, I'd say, a little under halfway through the game. We still have Altus and Gelmir and the capital and Haligtree, and then the final boss levels. So DLC will be its own set of videos, completely separate from these. I need a little bit of time to research that because I'm not quite as familiar, but that is far, far down the line. So my name has been Cowdog. This has been the Caelid video for Sorcery, and I will see you guys in the next one.